Hi, I'm Chelsea from the Truro Council on Aging, and today with us we have Donna Mahan from Donna Mahan Studio. Hi, Donna. How are you today?
Good morning, Chelsea. Great. It's so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too, and thanks for being with us. We appreciate your time.
You're very welcome.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. What I can tell you is that I've been on the Cape full time for 20 plus years. And I say that because I started my artwork very, very young, but nobody recognized it as art.
Oh,
And my mother was an incredible seamstress, but that was just something that people did to make it through life and made all our clothes and everything.
and you had quite a few siblings, right?
Six of us.
Yeah.
So I sort of grew up with thinking that's just life. You sew really nicely, Donna, because I worked with textile for a long time. So I made my first Easter coat. For those of you who would remember these, I made my first Easter coat when I was in the 7th grade, a full-length coat, fully lined with bound buttonholes.
Oh.
That was pretty extraordinary, and it wasn't until later in my life that I realized I started very young. So,
Good
but I
for you.
did my art full-time on the Cape. That's why we moved here, to concentrate on my art. And I've worked with all different mediums, and most recently it has been, well, it's been recycled materials for long as I can remember. I was recycling before it was in. And I work with recycled glass, vintage glass, or any of those things that you break at home and go, oh my God. And I take that and give it a new life through sculptural work. And I am now incorporating recycled metals and have been doing that, but I'm doing it more extensively. So it's forged, hand forged, fold forming, making a flat piece of metal into a 3-dimensional, incredible sculpture. And
Wow.
both pieces are both mediums. I don't pre-plan usually, so it's very organic.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool. And where do you usually get your materials from?
Every place, the transfer station. I come home to things at my studio that people have dropped off because they know the mediums I use on
Oh,
my.
that's good. You have connection.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But it's all recycled. So, side of the street when I'm walking or riding, or, like I said, transfer stations. People are very generous also with cleaning out their house. And then,
and-
oh, Donna will use it. If you do a tour later, you'll see some of that collection that's waiting to be reformed into something else.
And then how do you keep it organized? Do you keep it separate depending on the pieces and the colors and the sizes and stuff?
Well, you sort of hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Before the glass is deconstructed into something new, I have all of that by color. And it's really my palette that I work off of. And then once I start to work with the glass, it is in smaller components. I have it in bins by colors. Everything is labeled. It's amazing for the amount of material I use, how organized I am most of the time.
I think every artist will say that, right? And what kind of tools do you use?
I use a glass cutter for good reason.
Okay, yeah, of course.
I score my glass hoping that I can break it like stained glass, but in recycled glass, it varies in thickness immensely. So I go from a glass cutter and sometimes just an outright hammer to break it. So
Oh, there you go.
glass cutter, pliers, soldering iron, and then with the metal work, I use all kinds of metals, copper, silver, brass, and then I use a anvil, a wonderful anvil that I purchased from a man that restores them, and hammers and anything that will make texture. So I just grab anything from the studio. And then I have a corner where I have my acetylene tank, and that's set up for heating my metals and working them further. So it's a pretty specific technique.
Because you heat them to work with them, right? Because it makes it easier to be able to move them and stuff.
Because if you keep on hitting a piece of metal without heating it, they call it nailing it, it will crack.
Oh, okay.
So, and in that same corner, I have a kiln where I fuse glass.
Oh.
It has another whole level of technique, but fun and magical.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite tool?
My anvil.
Oh, there you go. You didn't even really have to think about that. You knew it. And how have you upgraded your equipment throughout the years, or is that stuff you started with and have always worked with?
There is something like glass cutters that I need to upgrade because the diamond bit on it wears out. But overall, I am using the same tools. And the truth is, I am much more a hands-on person than like an electric drill. So
Yes.
the other day, aside, I was doing a birdhouse out of recycled wood.
I saw that, yes.
And I will drill the hole for the screw, but I do the screw by a hand screwdriver.
Oh.
My wife will be like, why aren't you using the electric tool? I don't like electric tools as much.
I feel like a lot of people would opt to use the electric tools. So good for you for being different and standing on your own. That's great.
I like hand tools. That's why I
Yeah.
and the hammer speak to me so much.
Yeah, those are important ones, huh? And do you have an art background?
My art background is life.
Good for you. Hey,
Yeah.
that's the best one you can have, right?
I'm basically self-taught. I've worked in probably every medium there is over my lifespan. But about 20 years ago, I did an apprenticeship with a glass artist in P-Town, Stephen Donnelly, and he needed some help. And little did I know that I would evolve into this artist using glass, except Stephen does traditional glass work, which I did a few pieces, and it's stunning for the colors. But I found it didn't have enough texture, and I really like texture.
I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I can tell that you like texture. It's very cool. It's very different, is what I like about it.
So I took the skills that I learned from Stephen.
Yep.
And expanded them into the recycled materials.
Awesome.
The texture.
Good for you.
And I've taken some classes and workshops since then, including going to Penland School of Crafts for 8 weeks for concentration in metalwork. And that's where I really started to expand my love of the metal too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the metal over glass or glass over metal?
No, they both really speak to me. The glass, love the brilliance of the colors.
Yes, yep.
And I think I am pushing the glass quite far in recycling it the way I do. But the metal is even more organic, and both of them have a magical quality. So I'm incorporating both of them together in my work.
That's awesome. And with your work, it sounds like you just kind of wing it, and you don't do any drafts of anything, so you don't prepare for specific pieces or anything. You just, what comes to mind, it sounds like.
That is more true than people know. And I'm very comfortable with that. I start with one piece, whatever speaks to me when I turn my head. And, I might do a color scheme.
Yep.
But when I was at Penland, about 5 o'clock every night, which is sort of a downtime, I'm getting a little tired. I've been working all day and learning, and the instructor would come around and want to see what kind of draft or design I'm going to execute. And I would panic because that's not my strength. And he finally got that more and I got it because, I was there to learn. So I tried to take in some of his suggestions around design. But I have to be honest, I have held on to let the first piece start and then everything sort of speaks from there. And each piece I use sort of has an energy that dictates the next piece I consider.
Very interesting.
It is. It is.
That's got to be tough. I feel like if I was an artist, which I'm not, I don't have that skill set, but I feel like I would need more of a plan and more of to know what I was going in to do. So good for you for being able to, do it your way and just like you said, what speaks to you and work from there. That's awesome.
Well, and I also think, Chelsea, that as much as I say I don't have a plan, what I know from working with so many mediums over the years is that I apply all those skills and details to every new thing I've tried. Yeah. And I'm not afraid to try something new. So that really helps me to expand. But I'm always relying on those previous experiences.
Yes.
So, for example, I often think of my work now as quilting with glass and metal versus quilting with fabric that I did.
Yep, that makes sense, yeah.
That's really neat because I do commissions with people using their own special treasures. And I incorporate those into these sculptural pieces. And so those really have a place of memory for people. And they have these items that we all put in a drawer someplace we don't know what to do with, but it belonged to so-and-so.
Yep, we all have those.
Right. So I have the great honor and joy of creating art with those things that people have.
That's so great.
It's like a quilt again, because quilting to me is very indicative of lots of memories.
I have a blanket my mother made me of my favorite jammies when I was little. And I obviously grew out of them. So she made me a great blanket with them. So I can relate. It's great to be able to incorporate those things together. So
I have a quilt that I made many years ago. And it's made of hexagons.
Yep.
And so you have to, I hand cut all the fabric. Then I had a pattern, which was the yellow pages. And I had to hand base my fabric around each pattern and then base them together. After I sewed on each side of that hexagon, I could take out the basting. And there's over 2,000 hexagons.
Wow.
It is all fabric that my mother used for our clothes as kids.
Oh, that's so special.
Curtains, tablecloths. And then I expanded into my fabrics because this kept on growing to over 2,000 hexagons.
Wow.
Yes, it's very, very special. And there's fabrics that go back to the 1950s.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. Good job on that.
So it all does build, you
Yes.
know, all of that work in recycling and sort of the love of taking something that most people are going to throw away. And I say, no, I can do something.
You can use it. You got that eye for it. Do you have a favorite piece that you've made before?
Oh, well, it's funny. I have one piece in the kitchen. I can show it to you if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, just going to walk you through the house a little bit. And this piece right here in the window,
Ooh,
I'm going to put the window down so you can really see it. This
that's great.
was an ice cube tray
Oh, it was?
that I found out on Hatches Harbor. The inside of the ice cube tray, the old-fashioned ones.
Wow, look at that.
And I bent it and then started putting the glass in. And I put this cookie cutter or donut cutter or something up here. And in time, it became like a Cocapelli.
Yeah, yeah.
And that piece actually isn't necessarily my favorite piece, but my wife, it's the only piece she asked that I don't sell.
Oh, so that must be her favorite piece then.
That's her favorite piece. I love the story about finding the ice cube tray out at Hatches Harbor.
That's great. What are the odds of that?
Um,
And how long does something like that take you to make?
more hours than I know. Some things happen fast, even in the not designing, because I do lay things out.
To get a feel for what you're gonna, yeah.
Sometimes that's where I can get caught up in just having whatever feels like the right look for me, the right balance, the right.
Yep.
And then quite often I will call Carol to the studio because she's a very good consultant. And I will have a piece that I think might be too high, might be too big, something. And I won't say it to her and I'll have her come and critique it. And she goes right for that piece.
Oh, isn't that funny?
So there's a lot in this work also about trusting your gut and instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And it also needs to incorporate a lot of improvising.
Mm-hmm.
Something doesn't work, I'll try another and I'll try another. And that's probably one of my greatest delights and sometimes greatest frustration.
Yes.
Where I want to eventually. And
So
that's
do you kind of lay the things out and get an idea before you start, shall I say, soldering them together or whatnot? Or do you just kind of start and then find the pieces as you go?
both.
Yeah.
Lay down a certain amount to start myself. But I have pictures of a piece that I supposedly am ready to execute and solder it together, copper foil and solder it. And then I have pictures of the finished product, and you'd be amazed how different they are.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Finished product, I saw places I needed to improvise, or I put maybe a spoon or a fork in there to soften an edge or a corner. So the beginning layout is certainly somewhat similar to the finish.
Somewhat similar.
You bring out the best in me, Chelsea.
I'm glad. How long do you spend, like time-wise, like a day or a week in the studio working on stuff?
Well, since COVID, that's a different story.
Yes, that's a different story. For all of us, I think life's a different story. And
right. But that is an important point too. My artwork, this is just a little side, my artwork is very much about my life and my breath, and it's very good for my mental health. It's very necessary. In some of the most stressful times of my life, art is what gave me an anchor. And so with that in mind, sometimes I spend even more times out there than others, depending on how. But before COVID, I would spend approximately 6 to 8, 10 hours a day, most
wow.
5 days a week.
Wow.
You know, one of the gifts of COVID, though, is I realize, this is funny, I don't need to have an idea of being in the studio by 9, and then I have a certain amount of time and I leave for the day, because the schedules have pretty much stopped any life schedule outside of the home, and my calendar's not filled crazy, it gives me a lot of flexibility. So I can be in there a little bit later in the day and work till 6, 7 at night if I want to. And I do find I have to be in that studio though. I find that I really sort of get off balance if I don't spend that quality time out there.
But that's good that you realize that and make sure that you get into the studio every day to avoid feeling anyway, you know. Good for you.
And some days I don't get in there, especially since COVID, but you know, because I do have a life beyond art, but and I'm very fortunate because Carol has really committed to taking care of a lot of our regular life responsibilities, house cleaning, cooking, which is good because I might never stop to eat.
Yeah.
And she and I would like to travel more. Again, before COVID, we did. And I said to her, I'm very open to doing that. But if we're going to go for long chunks of time, many weeks or months, then when I'm home, I need to be in that studio. And
Yes.
that's an agreement that we've made that works very, very well. It's not
That's great.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad for you. That's great.
So it's part of the life of an artist and
Yes.
artwork.
And do you sell your artwork anywhere or advertise it locally anywhere or anything?
I sell it at Courtail Gallery in Provincetown.
Okay, yeah.
I've been there for many years and feel very fortunate. Kerry, who is the owner, has a great variety of work, mostly paintings, but then she mixes it with other mediums like mine. She has a great eye. And then I also show up at Trove Gallery in Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
And Clark has a new gallery up there right next to Joe Mama's, and he's delightful.
He is a great guy. He's got some really good stuff in there too.
Does, and I love his positive outlook and
Yeah.
his young energy.
He's got good energy, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I also, people will come into the studio when they can, again, before COVID so much. And I love people to bring their energy into the studio and look around like you'll have to do, and just have input and questions and excitement. And that leaves an energy. When someone leaves there, I have that gift that was given me. So, and the truth is my whole house and gardens are an art studio too. So people see me.
You're an artist all around.
Yeah.
In every aspect of life, even gardening or in the house, in your studio.
You got it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good. Well, do you have time to give us a little show of your studio? And
I do. I hope that the link, the Zoom will work okay. So
I have faith that it will.
I'm just going to show you some of.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Like this here is a painting from a local artist. And when I got it, I said, this needs a found wood frame.
Oh, that's fun. Is that driftwood? Now, did you paint that or did you find it with the color?
That's exactly how I found it.
Wow.
Beautiful colors.
Great job on that.
Yeah. So, and you can see that the house has a lot of color.
Yeah, a lot of great art.
So that's what isn't my art. I love to support other artists. So that's very important.
That's a good artist.
I'm going to bring you around a little bit. You'll see in our kitchen we have great color. And I'm just going to show you back here. I don't know how neat it is, but a backsplash that I did.
Oh, look at that.
Can you see it? Yeah.
Go down a little more. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So these
Wow.
I got from an intern up at Scargo Pottery in Dennis, not even knowing exactly how we were going to redo the kitchen. but I knew I could use them in a backsplash.
Wow, you're very talented. Look at that.
So it's a lot of fun, and I'm partly showing you this because I think it's great to show people ideas on how one can be creative.
Yes, of course, definitely. I agree.
This is the bathroom, and again, I did a mosaic tile. I'm going to show you this, Chelsea. Can you see the tile there?
No, go down a little more.
Down a little more.
Oh, there. Wow, look at that. Down a little bit more, though. I can see just the top. There you go.
Okay.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That
Did you do that? Did you do that off, or did you actually do it on there, or did you do it and then attach it up there?
I did it off on a board and then attached it.
Wow.
And these are mostly shards from Italy.
Wow, that's so cool. I've never seen anything like that.
I went many years ago to paint, and of course I was looking for treasures on the beach, which is the place I get a lot of my treasures. And there were all these pottery shards. I was in heaven.
That's great.
So they needed to have, I'm sorry,
Wow, that's beautiful. Good job on that.
they needed to have a special place in our home as they
Yes.
did. So I'm
Do you
going
have
to,
a favorite beach to find treasures at, or you won't share that secret?
oh, no, I don't believe in secrets. I think if people have shared with me, I'm going to share with
Share
you.
with them.
Actually, every beach, certainly the
Yeah.
Provincetown Bay is very significant.
Yeah, I found a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah. And but the other day I was at Coast Guard Beach walking, and I found a $20 bill, which I've never found in the water.
Wow, on the beach?
In the water.
What? Really? Wow.
And then I found a little starfish, which we never find here,
Yeah.
and a beautiful shell. I think it's right here. And that day I decided,
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is beautiful.
That's beautiful. Good find.
So my eyes are always open.
Yes. You have that art eye. You catch it all, huh?
And I've been beachcombing since I was a kid.
Yes.
With up tape. So I'm going to take you, and I don't want to make you dizzy. Should I close this or something?
That's okay.
Okay. You'll get little senses here.
I love your earrings and your necklace. Those you made as well, or?
Yes, this is forged metal, and I forge it and texture,
Oh, no.
and then I've added some pieces to it, and then I colorize them. So that's why you're seeing the color, and this is very textured. You
Wow,
can't
that's
see it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Colors are beautiful.
I did that when I did this kind of work at Penland. And here's another really neat piece. This is a mirror that I did with wood, just as I found it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
isn't it? Yeah. So I'm not going to totally overwhelm you, but you will be now because we have entered the studio.
Wow,
So-
look at that. Oh my goodness. Wow. I would have never imagined all that. Wow. Look at all that, Donna.
Here, my when I said, sorry, my color palette,
Yep.
these are silverware plates. Good.
Well, thank you for taking us out. Unfortunately, we didn't have the best connection out there, so we weren't able to get as into it as we had hoped, but we got a good idea of it. It looks like you have a lot of great things out there,
Yes.
a lot more than I expected, and a lot bigger of a space than I expected as well.
It's an oversized 2-car garage.
Yeah, that's great.
And we converted that very fast.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
As soon as you saw it, I'm sure you knew what it was going to be.
Yeah. And I love people to come. So if people want to give me a call, of course, until whenever, we have to do it with the guidelines of the governor and the
Yep.
country for COVID. But I prefer people don't stop by unexpectedly, especially these times. But I think that people would really enjoy seeing the studio. And I've taught classes in there. I've taught children, I've taught adults.
Oh, wow.
And I also teach at Castle Hill.
Oh, you do here in Truro. Oh, that's great.
So, and I mean it when I said, Chelsea, I don't have secrets. I really believe that people have been so good and so generous to me. Being self-taught, I had to learn someplace.
From other people. Yeah.
Lived and I asked questions and
Yeah. Because if everybody kept their secrets, you wouldn't have learned.
right. And people have been very, very good. And I'm a very hands-on artist. And I know that there were a lot of people like me that learn that way. So that's one of the reasons I like to encourage questions and experimenting and not limiting oneself. We're much more creative beings, I believe, than we give credit.
Credit to ourselves for. I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I will definitely be reaching out to you to schedule a time to come look at your studio and pick your brain a little more.
Good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It, like I said before, that wasn't what I expected. Looks like you have a lot of material, so you better get going.
There's a lot of finished pieces in there too.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's both sort of, it ends up being a showroom / storage for the finished pieces as well as my materials. So it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to come check it out. And do you sell online as well?
I haven't, because each piece is so unique.
Yeah,
Really just
it's
have
hard.
to know how to do that.
But you do have a website, right?
We have a
And
website.
does that show a lot of your art on the website, or?
Update that regularly with new work, and there's also a commission page, so you can see ideas on what I have made for commissions for people. And I also show you on my website some of my relaxation art,
Oh,
because I think, again, it expands that idea of
yeah,
art. What is it? And
great.
artwork, like a lot of hand sewing I do now, that's my relaxation art. So
Good.
a tab for that. But I have my jewelry on the website, and I have a lot of my sculptural work on there. So I think it gives you a very good sense of my art in some of what I can do. And I have a habit. Don't say no. I never say no, because I love improvising. So I'll figure out a way most times to do something.
Do things. Wow, good for you. That's great. It's a good trait to have, to not say no.
Yes, in most cases.
Yes. Do you take people if they come with you with a special request, or something in particular that they're looking for?
Do I what? I'm sorry, take them, you said?
Yeah, if somebody came to you and said, can you build me a vase for my flowers, or a bird to hang in my window or whatnot? Do you take special requests like that?
I do. What I like to do is especially if I'm going to use people's personal items too, I suggest just take those items, those special things, put them in a box. Don't even think if I can use them or not. I can decide that.
Oh.
In a box. Then when we get together, I ask you to prioritize those pieces. What must be in the finished piece? How are you going to use it? My finished piece that I create for you. What color scheme you would like. And have input through all that, and then let me be the artist.
Great.
Magic happens.
Great. I'm going to go home and find some trinkets that I could bring to you to make me a special piece.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a pretty magical thing. I've used, you look at my commissions page, you'll really see what I use. But all my work, if you pull it in closely, you'll see trinkets that, you know, you just would not expect to see with solder and glass
Yep.
and welding.
Awesome. Good. Well, good for you, Donna. And I'm excited to look a little bit more into your art and hopefully, like I said, get a tour of the studio and see if I can have you make me a special piece as well.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And I do show also at the COA in P-Town, no, in Truro. And I have a show in 2021, depending on what happens with COVID and if it's bumped or whatever.
Well, we have faith that will go on, and we will have your show. So.
Another way to do it.
Yeah, we've been actually doing a lot of the art shows because we can't have them held in the building virtually.
Okay.
Yeah. So that seems to work out pretty well too. So, but hopefully by 2021, we won't have to worry about that, right?
I just don't know if we have to let the people in that couldn't do it the same way this year. So that's why we're bumped. Not like bumped out of the COA, but bumped time. So anyhow, I am in a variety of places and we will continue that once COVID is more under control.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait for that day to come.
What's that?
I don't stop. You don't have to wait for
Okay, good.
So thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you for your time, and we appreciate you and giving us all this information about you and being able to learn a little bit about how you work and showing us a little tour of your studio and everything. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to call me or text me. And I don't know if you can add to the Zoom my website.
Sure.
Phone number, but people might.
Sure. Yeah, I can add that as a separate write-up after the link connection. So.
Beautiful.
So, and if anybody has any questions, they can always call the COA and we can direct you to Donna as well. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. And Donna, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it, Chelsea.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.